Welcome to this week's episode of the People's Court, powered by Movement of Voice for Democracy, known as Movers Nigeria. I am your forum advocate, Mr. IKECHUKWU. The focus today is that our association, Movers Nigeria, is urging every citizen to have faith in democracy, because democracy is embedded in rule of law, due process, and justice for all. Without justice, democracy will be unattractive. Our families and institutions are on the decline due to our culture of impunity and lack of justice for the poor. You must understand the fact that the strength of your oppressor is proportional to your own weakness in resisting him or her. You know that with the People's Court, you have a free access to justice in the public domain, where the people will be the jury. So, if you are oppressed by our big man syndrome in this country, or institution, or government, or any other agency of government, take the matter to the People's Court and let your voice be heard before your right is buried. Gentlemen and ladies, I have the pleasure to introduce to you a forum judge amongst the people. A forum judge is going to help to decide the case when you must have made the decision. I'm humbled to introduce to you a gentleman within the community, Reverend O.C. OBIOHA, JP. Reverend OBIOHA, could you say one or two things to the people as a forum judge?
Thank you very much, the facilitator of People's Court, Chief Okonkwo. I feel elated. I feel honored to be called to be a judge of this kind of forum. I'm happy today to be in your midst. I'm Reverend OKECHUKWU C. OBIOHA JP, the African coordinator of Servants of the Lord Ministries Incorporated, based in the U.S. It's an apostolic teaching ministry that ministers to churches and organizations, Christian organizations all over the world. I was formerly also the state coordinator of ICPC and AVC in Enugu State, among other organizations that I belong to. I'm happy to be in your midst today.
It's my pleasure, Honorable George. According to our program, we will take the general petitions concerning good governance. This general petition, as submitted, is the first petition is from Movers Nigeria. Movers submitted a petition consisting two legs of their worry in the system. The first system, this will be open to the public to discuss, is that Movers has suggested that the studies in civics and the Nigerian Constitution must be included in the secondary school certificate to promote democratic culture in Nigeria. The first arm of their public petition is studies in civics and Nigerian Constitution must be included in our secondary school certificate to promote democratic culture in Nigeria. The second arm of their public petition is there is urgent need to amend our constitution outlawing fighting in parliament and or parliamentarians, that the penalty should be consequential dissolving of the parliament for fighting in the chambers, and members shall be ineligible for election for a period of 8 years, whereas members who engage others by disorderly conduct should be banned from holding public office for life. The second arm of the petition by Movers Nigeria is there is urgent need to amend our constitution outlawing fighting in parliament and or parliamentarians fighting, that the penalty should be consequential dissolving of the parliament or that particular parliament for fighting in the chambers, and the members shall be ineligible for election for a period of 8 years, whereas members who engage others by disorderly conduct outside the forum or the chambers should be banned from holding public office for life. As the advocate, I believe that the reasons that have necessitated this public petition must have been an eye on what is going on in our parliament, particularly in the state of Port Harcourt, Rivers State. Ladies and gentlemen, this public petition, as soon as the presenter permits, will be open for general discourse, and I will have opportunity to present this first to the forum advocate to see if he has anything to say before the jury will now deliberate and make their contributions so that we can reach a verdict. May it please you, Your Honor, the forum judge.
Thank you very much for this public petition from the movers. What I have to say briefly is that I subscribe wholly to this petition. But I just want to say that the problem we have and we're having is not maybe just like putting civics and Nigerian constitution to be taught to the pupils and the students in schools, or to be put in the curriculum of schools. The problem we have is that those who were taught these civics in the old times and those who have the constitution in their hands are not obeying this constitution. They're not even reading them. They're not following the tenets of this constitution. Because I believe that those who were taught civics, they are the people there in the parliament we're talking about today. The ages that we have in the National Assembly, in all the government, in all the 3 tiers of government, if they abide by the ethics, by the civics they were taught in schools, this country will not be where it is today. So while I subscribe wholly to this movement, the petition to be sent to the public on good governance, I also want to say that we have to look into the characters of the people who were taught these civics when it was taught in the past years. Thank you very much.
Gentlemen and ladies, I will now seek the leave of the presenter to open this to the jury for discussion.
All right, thank you.
Have a nice day.
You heard it loud and clear. There are 2 petitions in the general public petitions. I'd like to take them again for those of you who just joined us right now. Studies in civics and Nigerian constitution must be included in our secondary school certificate to promote democratic culture in Nigeria. And then the second one is that there is urgent need to amend our constitution, outlawing fighting in parliament and all parliamentarians. The penalty shall be consequential dissolving of the parliament for fighting in the chambers, and the members shall be ineligible for election for a period of 8 years, whereas members who engage others by disorderly conduct should be banned from holding public office for life. Well, the first thing that comes to my mind is the fact that these people are referred to as honorables, and their character and lifestyle should at least not be, in disharmony with what they are referred to. Now, we're going to open up the talk lines, and if you have a comment to make, you can send it to 0808 109 1094. I have a text message right here, and I would like you to respond to that. The first one comes from Boniface Owo from Ishelu in Ebonyi State, and it says, I commend Mr. Ifeanyi and the other movers in initiating this laudable sensitization program. I am a secondary school teacher and look forward to the day when this is entrenched into the school curriculum. But how can this happen when our so-called policymakers don't know or see the need?
Yes, this first text message is also within the domain of the public petitions. As the advocate, I feel that we must also remember that the provisions of Section 14 of our Constitution has given us all the rights that every issue and power to take decision in this country is not in the hands of the parliamentarian. It's in our hands. We own the sovereignty in this country. We are the custodians of the pillars that hold this country. So we must move forward and seize the opportunity to know our rights and begin to show intolerance to impunity and lack of discipline by our leaders. So this is also part of the issues that the jury will now have to deal with so that we can get a proper resolution. This is the people's court.
Okay. Now, if you're out there, when he said the jury, he actually referred to you. You are the jury. I think this is a whole new idea. There's a paradigm shift occurring, because what we are used to is just a minute section of a society controlling the power. They are the ones in power. But power is returning to the public. I have another text message here from Kalu Ologu. And Kalu is in IGWE. And it says, the recent incidents in Rivers State House of Assembly is shameful as it is painful. What you preach is what it should be. But will it ever come to pass? Will there ever be a time when fighting attracts an injunction? May I live to see that day.
Well, the commentary also have to be backed up by public opinion. Okay. We are asking for an amendment of our constitution so that we will outlaw and punish this unruly behavior by our members who represent us in the parliament.
So your opinion is going to count this morning. So wherever you are in the coal city or beyond, we want to know what you feel about these two propositions or petitions that the Movers Nigeria is making this morning. Studies in civics and Nigerian constitution should be included in the curriculum. That's the first proposition. And the second one is that something should be done about those who fight in the hallowed chambers. Those who are honorable but live dishonorably. All right, the last one I have here is from a barrister, and that's interesting, Barrister Meka Abai, and it says, the blind leading the blind best describes our situation in most parts of the country. If a congressman or parliamentarian can fight in the hallowed chambers, then he can fight anywhere or do worse things than fighting. How did this terrible set of people assume power, and what can we do to get to the seeming utopian principles that you propound?
Yes, the proposition initially might look utopian, but we must understand that the penalty that good men pay for not being in politics is to be governed by men worse than themselves. I am not the originator of this word. We need to be vigilant. We need to participate in democracy. There is no law banning civil servants from joining partisan politics. There's no law. The only limitation is that you cannot contest an election while holding public office. you must resign. We need to understand how to expand the frontiers of democracy so that we can deepen democracy.
All right. That's a response to Barrister Emeka Agbai's SMS. All right, we'll take a short break. When we come back, we will continue in just a while.
Now in session. The first case is petition number 1. This petition was filed in by one Miss Felicia NWOKEABALA as the claimant. He filed this petition against Mr. Michael OKORIE. The reason why this petition is now before the court is that Felicia did not give us the address of the defendant, but there is no way we could now get the defendant's version, but we say we must bring it to the notice so that Felicia will not lose hope that we did not attend to her case. The facts of the case as summarized in the case file are as follows. I am a single girl of 31 years and holds a first degree in business administration from University of Lagos. I work for a commercial bank, and I was in 2010 transferred to Nsukka branch of my bank. I started a relationship with one Mr. Michael OKORIE, a customer of my bank. Sometime in April 2012, he proposed marriage to me, which I accepted. He asked me to help him in his business with a personal loan of 500,000 naira, which I gladly gave him. The business progressed, and I further gave him another 600,000 naira. In January 2013, he sent a text message to my phone telling me that his old girlfriend filed for him American visa lottery and that he is leaving and will not want to miss this opportunity. Miss Felicia NWOKEABALA as claimants claims as follows. Please, I want the People's Court to help me recover my life savings totaling 1,100,000 naira. Citizens and the jury, this case, we were not able to reach the defendant so that he can give us his own part of the story. Felicia sent this with her address, but not the address of the defendant. So there is no way we could ascertain how to reach the defendant so that we will not violate his rights to fair hearing. But because it is important that this petition must come to court and the people will decide. That is the case of the claimant as presented by the forum advocate. I will ask the judge in the forum to see if he has to make a comment before we pass this case to the public for their judgment.
Felicia, thank you for your petition. But first of all, I just want to say that God gave us 2 ears so that we can hear from 2 sides. Like the facilitator have said, we've not heard from Michael OKORIE. Nevertheless, I just want to look at the statement that the business progressed. When you gave him 500,000, the business progressed. And that is what I want to look into. It means at a point, it was satisfactory. At a point when the business was going on, if I can identify or define or want the meaning of that word you used, the business progressed, there was no quarrel. And then I begin to wonder again why you are claiming 1.1 million, because you gave him 500,000, and at another point you gave him 600,000, because at the point of 500,000 the business progressed and it was satisfactory to you. So we've not heard from him, but I also want to say that At one point, you were satisfactory. You were satisfied with what was going on before you gave the 600,000. Until we are from okay. But again, I also want to advise for also to our listeners. You mentioned that you were 31 years old and you started a relationship. And when you were posted to Nsukka by 2010, and this thing came up to 2012, which is about 3 years. I wonder what, is it because of hardship, is it because of whatever, all of anxieties or whatever, frustration or desperation that will make you to get engaged into 3 years before the marriage is consummated, or else this incident wouldn't have happened. So I want to encourage young people who are don't get desperate to getting into marriage. If a young man says he wants you, a young girl says he wants you, because this thing can also happen between a female and a male. I've had an instance of somebody who says a girl who also had a visa lottery and left overseas and left his man groaning. So either way, so what I want to say is that there's no reason why an engagement should last for more than 6 months or 1 year. I mean, I don't want to say that. So I want to advise you and advise our listeners. Why would you want at 31 years? You want to get engaged for 3 years and you are doling your money into this guy. You know, you have to. This is why Movers is bringing up this issue. Be very, very careful. For those who are listening to us, make sure that your engagement does not exceed 6 months at least.
Gentlemen and ladies, this case is now open to the jury to call in and make your own verdict on this petition.
Yeah, case number 1, the judgment here is that it's a pity we have to say this, but is that Felicia should forget the money and press on for your life. Go ahead with your life and forget this money.
As God pleases. Case number 2. The case number 2, which was decided in this court, was between Mr. RAPHAEL UCHENNA AGBO against Dr. P.J.C. NWOKEABALA. This is a case where the driver claimed the sum of 80,000 naira, but the defendant, Dr. J.P.C. NWOKEABALA, said he's a Christian and forwarded a check of 60,000 naira to Movers Nigeria for onward transmission to RAPHAEL at our office at number 1 Ogoja Street. You can collect it on Monday. So the judge will now read the final verdict as he delivered and the verdict of the people. Judge.
Yes, please. UCHENNA, the man shouldn't have held the money back. He should balance the remaining 20K. He should pay the remaining money and some fine where necessary, because he has delayed. He was owing the man for several months, and he should completely balance. That's the judgment.
As God pleases. We now come to the final case this morning. The final case is the case of OBOGWU against OKECHUKWU IGBO. This is the case where a driver took 2 tires belonging to his Oga and he must have sold them. And we contacted him. He said that he took the 2 spare tires but will pay back when he gets a new job. But he will only pay that money through the People's Court, that is Movers Nigeria. The judge in the forum has already given judgment on this matter, and this judgment was supported by the people, and I'll ask the judge to now read his judgment.
The judgment is that from what people have said, the juries have said, and what we have decided here is that we want to plead with your master, to give you some time. And again, you should begin to make arrangement to go to your master and pay him 20,000 naira for those tires. Thank you.
And this is the judgment of the forum. Gentlemen and ladies, this court will now rise, and we ask you, if you are oppressed by our big man syndrome, the institution or government, take the matter to the people's court and let your voice be heard before your rights are buried. This is your judge and the forum advocate presiding. This court must rise.
As a couple.
All right, thank you so much for joining us.